Episode 5 of Solo Leveling Season 2 begins with Heian confronting Jinwoo at the A-Rank dungeon boss's gate. Heian tells Jinwoo to move away from the gate. She doesn't want Jinwoo to anger the boss and endanger the mining team. Before Jinwoo departs, Heian smells Jinwoo. Heian learns Jinwoo is a hunter. She checks Jinwoo's ID and lets him go. Jinwoo regroups with the miners. The miners tell Jinwoo that Heian protects them from the boss. They inform Jinwoo that Heian is uncomfortable with certain hunter scents. They state it's a part of Heian's unique constitution. This is why Heian always covers her nose with a handkerchief. Jinwoo reflects on his encounter with Heian and realizes he doesn't have a distinct hunter scent. He argues it's because he's the player. Later, a miner hands Jinwoo his payment. He offers Jinwoo a chance to work with them more, but Jinwoo declines. The miner convinces Jinwoo to assist his group for one more day. He does so by bringing up some A and C rank raid missions that'll occur. The miner promises to convince his boss about doubling Jinwoo's salary. Meanwhile, Heian calls someone on the phone. Heian wants information on Jinwoo. The person on the phone tells Heian that Jinwoo's information is sealed away. Heian hangs up the phone and ponders what she knows about Jinwoo. She says Jinwoo is the first person she's met with a nice scent. Jinwoo meets with the miners the next day to complete his duties. During Jinwoo's break, Captain Sun Ki-hun greets him and the miners. Ki-hun wants to borrow a miner for luggage-carrying purposes. He's willing to give a volunteer a risk allowance. Jinwoo accepts Ki-hun's offer. Jinwoo, Ki-hun, and Ki-hun's assault team enter an A-rank dungeon. Ki-hun confirms he's not an official captain yet. He says he'll become a captain once this raid mission is done. Several Jackal magic beats arrive and attack Ki-hun's group and Jinwoo. Ki-hun's group defeats the Jackals. Then, a group of High Orcs arrive to fight our heroes. The High Orcs overwhelm Ki-hun's group. Jinwoo relies on his stealth abilities to secretly assist them. Ki-hun's group defeats the High Orcs. One of the members confronts Ki-hun about their victory, and everyone is skeptical about how they won. One of the members confirms she detected Jinwoo's stealth skill during the fight. She promises not to disclose Jinwoo's abilities to the others since he saved them. Ki-hun's comrades convince Ki-hun that they should retreat. Ki-hun's group and Jinwoo arrive at the A-rank dungeon's entrance. Someone tells Ki-hun that a high-level entity placed this barrier at the entrance. She says it'll take her time to remove the barrier. Suddenly, everyone senses the dungeon boss's magic power nearby. The person removing the barrier gets injured along with others. Ki-hun's group and Jinwoo turn around. They notice 50 High Orcs behind them. One of the High Orcs greets Ki-hun. He introduces himself as Kargalgan and confirms he's the one who blocked the dungeon's entrance. Kargalgan offers Ki-hun a chance to see him or die by his hands. Ki-hun chooses the former option. Kargalgan departs with his comrades. Jinwoo approaches Ki-hun. He wants Jinwoo to escape the dungeon and gather his other assault team once he and the others distract Kargalgan and his comrades. One of Ki-hun's allies hands Jinwoo her short will. She wants Jinwoo to give it to her family. Jinwoo understands and takes her will. Concurrently, Heian visits the mining team's current work location. One of the workers confronts Heian. Heian asks the worker for intel about Jinwoo's whereabouts. He tells Heian that Jinwoo volunteered as Ki-hun's group's porter. The worker confirms that Jinwoo entered the A-rank dungeon next to them. The episode ends with Ki-hun's group and Jinwoo greeting Kargalgan at his base. Jinwoo gets involved in many tense predicaments in this week's episode. He had to deal with Heian's suspicion of him and protect Ki-hun's group from becoming High Orc food. It'll be interesting to see what other suspenseful situations Jinwoo will encounter in Season 2. On the other hand, this episode gives fans wonderful information about Heian's character. It's not much, but it's a step in the right direction. At the same time, we get introduced to Ki-hun and his squad. Many will understand Ki-hun's desire to rank up in the hunter world. Simultaneously, it's pleasant to see a captain who looks out for his comrades' safety. Jinwoo has met many shady folks between Season 1 and Season 2's run, so far. Ki-hoon's not the first pleasant dungeon leader Jinwoo's met. However, it's refreshing to see another one appear in the anime. Hopefully, everyone can make it out in one piece. Next to having wonderful action and animation, folks will find this week's episode satisfying.